Summer. This one started out just like the last one.
So excited about tonight. What you got going till then?
Gotta go see my mom.
I'm better. I've been better for months.
Maybe you could just come home then.
Ain't that easy, baby girl.
We didn't know it yet. Hey, Chris.
Do I know you?
But this summer... What the? Hey, leave him alone! Was about to be very different.
Welcome to Chicago.
Thank you.
This is a very legendary music and film venue that you get to do this premiere in.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so am I. Have you seen the film?
I have.
What do you think?
I like it. It was really entertaining. I got to watch it in the comfort of my home.
Yeah.
But it's different getting to watch it in the theater. I think this is what we always look forward to. So I'm glad to be back here. And also I'm going to be sitting with people who might not have seen it yet.
Right.
So that's always really exciting.
And very different than Mr. Iglesias and things like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, the shoot, absolutely. I mean, it's night and day. Mr. Iglesias was in front of a live studio audience, and this was film. And I had a great time. The cast was awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better cast and director, and I just had such a good time in New Orleans. And even though we shut down at one point because of the pandemic, having to come back and readjust, I'm glad I got to do it with that group of people.
And did you feel because this is a young, fresh talent cast, did you make friends?
Yeah, all of them are on my phone. I've been texting with them on my way over here, yeah.
And it's look at this thing. We get to do this for a living, but also we get to hang out and make a movie.
That's the dream. Yeah, absolutely.
About vampires.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about vampires compared to werewolves? And would you have done this if this was a werewolf film or a zombie film?
I couldn't say. I mean, it depends on the story. I mean, I've done zombie. Vampire has always kind of been my thing, though.
Yeah, because you were in World War Z.
Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I a lot of people don't know this, but I would go to school. I think for a whole 2 years, and with just vampire teeth, and I'd pop my collar. So I've always wanted to be with vampires. So this was definitely cool.
So you like vampires over zombies?
I've always liked vampires. Yeah.
Do you know why, or you just?
I don't know why. I've just always thought they were cool. I always wanted vampire teeth. I always wanted, I wouldn't stress you can't go out during the day and all that. I was a walking daytime vampire, and I was, that's what I've always loved vampires.
So sunlight isn't a problem?
No, not in my world.
You don't sparkle?
No.
So how did you like the tone of this compared to obviously a Twilight kind of vibe? I mean, this is very different, right?
Yeah, I thought this was really cool because it was really modern and very grounded, and it was I just thought it was a really grounded take on vampires and very current, and it was I don't know. I felt like the relationship and the chemistry between all the the characters, the kids. I want to call them kids. We're not kids, but as we were tracking the vampires and whatnot, was all very real. It was very cool. We got an opportunity to use our slang, develop our handshakes, the stuff that you don't see in other vampire movies. And
yeah, that's what Sherman was talking about. He was saying, as he was writing this, he was talking about how do people this age communicate? You don't want to pick up the phone and call people.
Yeah,
right?
there's probably pop culture references in the film, right? And it's just, I just feel like it's really one for the youth. It's we had talked about it's like an adventure. It really is. The film is an adventure film.
You read the script. What's your first thought?
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked 30 years ago. It's current because it's the way things are.
Yeah.
And then shooting this through a pandemic, what was that? What were the challenges? I mean, I know I'll talk to Marty about that.
Well, I can say that we were the trailblazers of it all. We had started right when we got permission to do so. I know a lot of productions were shut down. I can say no one caught COVID.
Yeah.
Right? They handled it beautifully. We were getting COVID tested every day, which wasn't the best, but it was worth it. Everyone was doing their best. It was a learning experience, and I'm glad I did it with the people I did it with. I wouldn't have, I felt like everyone was super responsible about protocol, and yeah, it was very new. I'm just glad I was with them.
Yeah, you kind of describe yourself as like an old soul and a young heart, huh? You kind of seem that way,
Me?
right?
Yeah.
You, whatever age you are, you do not sound like you are.
I've been told. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It was good speaking with
Thank you.
Yeah, how has the past year and a half been working in this crazy industry this way?
Well, it's been great for me because I'm alone in a dark office anyway. Right. So it all transferred so easily. You know, people say social distance. I was social distancing for a decade before that on my laptop. So it worked out great for me.
So you're like, this is how it's always been, basically.
More or less, yeah. I mean, I was working in the writer's room at the time, and so that transferred to virtual online Zoom rooms. But other than that, the process is the process. And it's very solitary, bro. Yeah. Very solitary.
So sitting down in your private dark room writing a movie about vampires.
Yeah.
Right? So how did that come to be?
Well, this is a script that I had for a long time. So it actually I didn't write it during the pandemic. I got to revisit it during the pandemic, but it's actually something I've been sort of working on for quite some time. So, yeah.
So then how did you give it a tone that's, not Twilight and not all that kind of stuff, right?
Listen, man, I think that the answer to that is cultural specificity. This is a black vampire movie, and so I think culturally, black people behave very differently than sort of a suburban white woman would, and I was really trying to exploit that in the narrative at every chance I possibly could.
So would you say it was inspired by, kind of almost like a Jordan Peele Get Out kind of vibe, or what?
No, because it predated Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
It predated you, Jordan. No, it predated Jordan Peele. It was something that I had been working on. It was more of a reaction towards sort of the vampire phenomenon that we saw really kick off, 10 years ago or so, when we had the, Twilight, Vampire Diaries, True Blood. I was sort of trying to give my own spin to that.
And what do you think it is about vampires and werewolves and zombies that people love?
Because they're a metaphor for humanity. Vampires can really tell us, they're fictional monsters, but they can tell us a lot about how humans react to certain situations. And I think that's a really useful metaphor for whatever, you name it, violence, sexuality, addiction, all that stuff. So I think that's why we go back to monsters over and over and over again.
What about the actors in this film? So obviously these are a lot of new talent.
Yeah.
Is that how you wanted it?
I'm in love with the cast. The cast is fantastic. It's just perfect for this, and I think a lot of these, they feel new because they're young actors and they're basically age appropriate, and they're drawing on sort of their own characteristics and bringing a lot to the project. A lot of stuff that you watch about teens and young adults are people in their 25, 30, 35, sometimes. And so these are real young people who are, I think, bringing a lot of themselves to the project.
And what about being connected to Jason Blum? I mean, he's the legend. Like, being part of that is... I
mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they wanted to do this movie. I'm so honored because when it comes to horror and thrillers and genre, Blumhouse is really the top-tier place that you want to be.
He's the guy. I mean, if there's any horror film, he's involved.
Yes, he's that guy.
Yeah.
He is absolutely that guy, and I'm honored that he wanted to make this project, and his team over there was great.
So this film gets to be part of the slate.
Yeah.
The welcome to the house kind of thing.
Yeah, welcome to the Blumhouse thing. Yeah. So it's we're excited about that. The first 4 movies that came out, I think about a year ago, or maybe a little over, were fantastic, and I think that grouping these films together can maybe make them greater than the sum of their parts, And I'm excited to be with all the other projects that we're working with,
and do you like
we're exhibiting with.
And then do you like how because this is not going to be in theaters, right?
Yeah.
It's just Amazon.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about how that's evolved?
I feel great. The theatrical experience is unique, but streaming is, I think, where you reach the most people these days. Everybody has access to streaming. Everybody has Amazon Prime. And so I think more people will get to see it, and I think they'll get to see it on their own terms, and hopefully they love it.
Great. How do you find yourself in a vampire film? You've been Greyhound with Tom Hanks, 12 Years a Slave, incredible film, and now vampires, right? How'd you get there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier last year in March, I read for the same Blumhouse Hulu anthology, I'm Into the Dark. And casting there reached out to my team. I guess they looked at the tape we had done, and the offer for Blackest Night came through. I had a dream probably a few weeks ago that I would play a vampire somehow, somewhere. And when they told me I'd be playing a vampire, I thought it was just that simple. Let's go ahead and do it.
So it just kind of came together.
Yeah, I guess serendipity in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Some way to form, you know.
And then, obviously this guy, like, he's just been involved in every horror movie there is in Chicago.
Is that Keith David?
Jason Blum.
Oh, Jason, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jason Blum, I apologize. Yeah.
So you get to be involved with a horror master and being part of that slate, you know?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, having your brand associated with a name like Blumhouse Productions, I mean, it's all about making smart business moves. And I mean, I think there's a handful, or more than a handful of people who would think twice about, taking that opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're also been involved in Snowfall.
Yes, sir.
With your co-star here.
Yes, sir.
So.
Wait, who's that? Asia worked on the third season, I believe. I was in the first season of Snowfall. We did that back in like 2016, somewhere around that time. So that was an experience, I'll tell you that much, man. Rest in peace, John Singleton. Shout out Dan the Ninjas, phenomenal cast, phenomenal crew. As that pertains, it was a beautiful experience to be around a bunch of young, hungry, aspiring thespians who just wanted to make the best mode of art they could during that time.
And then does this film feel like that too? It's a lot of young, fresh talent put together.
Well, yeah. So Mason Beauchamp and I, we actually went to the same acting academy back in New Orleans. John Rapaport was now known as Launch. I apologize. And so when I got word that he was a part of the project, it's kind of made the decision-making process for me that much more simple. Luckily enough, we also find ourselves on set together in the same scene. So, I guess it's just the magic of the hustle, the magic of the business, the magic of making a movie. You know what I mean? Being able to not only work with other creatives, like-minded creatives, but also friends.
Now, this film takes place in New Orleans, right? And that's very similar. So you Baton Rouge?
I live born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, from New Orleans.
So this is pretty close to home for you. What?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally right around the corner from my house. So we filmed that on Esplanade Avenue. The one day I was on set, the location we had was right around the corner from my house. It shows the depth of New Orleans. I had never seen that house or that street before in my life, so I kind of felt like a tourist in my own city for that one day, but I guess that's the magic of why we choose to be a part of what it is we're a part of.
You've been working with a lot of different people kind of from the local area who've really coached you and trained you. Right. Who do you feel like has really pushed you as an actor?
I would say the entire conglomerate. I would say any actor I've worked with in any acting class, any one of my coaches between Nicole Barre, Billy Slaughter, a wonderful regional agent, Ashley Wilkinson. I mean, it's been a team effort, honestly, it has. One hand washes the other, both feed the face. So that's just the beauty of having, a circle of energy, positive energy around you, simply enough.
Well, very cool. Looking forward to seeing the film.
Yes, sir. Likewise, man.
I've been meeting some of your wonderful cast who describe this film as kind of hanging out with their friends.
Yes.
And making a movie.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Sherman about, he'd been writing this for a long time. And it sounds like a very modern day take.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a very modern take on a movie concept that's been done forever. And so it was really exciting to kind of take everything that we know, flip it on its head, and Sherman wrote an amazing script that's totally original and different. Shooting it was awesome. Like, I have a background in acting, and I know how uncomfortable it can be to really express yourself when you feel uncomfortable and like you don't feel like in a safe space. So I really wanted this for everybody to feel like they were at home when we were performing. I wanted people to not be afraid to kind of push the envelope, and it's a movie about friends and growing up, and so I wanted them to feel like best friends, and they really did form that type of friendship within each other, and it was awesome.
And then your experience, you come from a lot of shorts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this is sort of your foray into feature.
Yeah, so I was a producer for almost a decade, producing commercials, features, and I've done over 10 features and hundreds of commercials. And so I'd always wanted to write and direct. I always knew that that's the path I wanted to take. And so I started while I was producing, directing and writing shorts. Like after I'd get off set over like 14-hour day, I'm like, I gotta write a feature, I gotta write a short, I gotta do this. And so I like financed all my own shorts. I went to USC, but I also financed all my own shorts and just kept building and building and building from there, and was able to kind of go from producer to director. And so like even though this is my first feature to premiere as a director, I've made so many other movies that it's like it doesn't feel new, but it is, you know, like it's just a different segment of filmmaking.
And then linking up with, you know, Jason Blum, I mean, he's there's no horror film that he's not connected to. I mean, so being part of that slate just had to have been amazing.
Oh man, I mean, I told this story before, but I'm gonna say it again. Like, it was always my dream to direct a movie for Blumhouse. And I remember back at South by Southwest, I was standing in line at one of the conventions, and it was like for Here Blum and a panel of directors, and I stood in line for like 3 hours waiting to get in. And as soon as I got into the door, they're like, "Sorry, we're at capacity." And that was like 7 years ago, and I was like, "Oh man, if I can't even get in as an audience member, how am I ever gonna, direct a movie from?" I remember, like, I was just like, it feels so impossible. And then I remember, like, the final production meeting before we shot this movie. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here and I'm doing this. Everything that I've, like, set my mind to, I've been able to accomplish, and it's so unreal. I'm so thankful for this.
So is it kind of like you went from, like, fangirl to, like, directing for him?
Yes,
like,
absolutely, 1,000%. Yeah.
What a transition,
It's huge. I mean, it's honestly amazing, and, I can't wait for the next opportunity to work with them again.
What was his involvement? Was he hands-on or hands-off?
He's a producer. I think that he has a lot of projects going on, but I've been able to do, with his execs, he watches it, the execs watch it, they give me plenty of notes and notes and notes and notes, and they help form everything. Like, they have a hand in almost every decision that I'm making as well, and it's kind of like it's a huge collaboration, across the board with locations, casting actors, wardrobe, everything that I had chosen, people, would give me their notes too, and if we didn't agree on something, we'd kind of talk it through. But Blumhouse is very hands-on. Yeah.
And then obviously with this, taking place in New Orleans 15 years after Katrina, I mean, you must have had a lot of. I heard you talking about some weather challenges and obviously through a pandemic. I mean, there was a lot of challenges.
It was a lot of challenges. There's one particular scene in the movie where Shauna and her father are sitting on the steps of their house that was blown away by Katrina, and it was one of the most emotional scenes that we had. A lot of the neighbors were coming out because we had built the foundation of the house. A lot of neighbors were coming out and just were really impacted by seeing that, because they're like, that's exactly what it looked like when our houses blew away. It meant a lot for New Orleans, and a lot of it, has a direct correlation of what's happening now. They just got hit by a hurricane. We were supposed to do another screening there, and we couldn't.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much for talking.
Thank you so much.
Hi. I only get one question with you. How do what do I do?
We're going to have to sum it all up right quick, huh?
I mean, what's your life been?
My life has been working on set, dealing with hurricanes, and killing vampires, as y'all are about to see tonight. So,
Sounds like a great, and you get paid. You get to hang out with friends.
Exactly. I get to hang out with the homies. I'm looking forward to this. We worked really hard on this. I got an opportunity to work with a lot of my friends from home. So, to get a chance to bring it all full circle and celebrate what we actually busted our butts for.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
And it's not Twilight. Like, that makes
also, it's got an edge to it. I definitely think people kind of get into, I don't know, there's a way of doing things, and I'm glad that we kind of took another turn from that. We let right. So I enjoyed everything.